Hi everyone, Harris here with iDownload Blog, and the iPad Pro 9.7, the very original iPad Pro that replaced the iPad Air 2 and that followed the iPad Pro 12.9 that came out in late 2015. This device came out in early 2016, so it is nearing 4 years old, and I saw it sitting around my room the other day, and I decided to try it out, to use it for about a week to see if it is usable still as a daily tablet, and I've quickly come to the conclusion that it surprisingly definitely is. So when this came out, it was the first iPad that supported the smart connector. It was the first iPad, along with the 12.9-inch version, that supported the Apple Pencil. So it was a first generation Apple Pencil device, and this of course really changed how I took notes at school, as I started using this with an Apple Pencil for all of my school notes that could replace laptops. It also added the quad speaker arrangement and other great features to the iPad. So this was really a legendary device and what set the stage for the crazy impressive iPad Pros that we have now. So yeah, right off the bat, this does support Apple Pencil. Now this doesn't support the Logitech Crayon and those other pencils that work with some iPads, the really cheap ones. You have to use Apple's own pencil with this, so you can get it for, of course, reduced price if you get it refurbished or whatnot, but that started at $100 from Apple, and you can use that for taking notes with this iPad, and this is the oldest iPad that will support that. And of course, if you do get the Apple Pencil for this device, then I would absolutely recommend checking out the sponsor for this video, which is Paperlike. And this is the Paperlike 2 screen protector on this iPad, which does really two things. It almost completely eliminates fingerprints on your screen. As you can see, there are no fingerprints, and there pretty much never will be fingerprints with the screen protector. But also when you're writing with the Apple Pencil, it feels like it has that tactile friction that you would expect from paper and pencil, and it's great. So if you're contemplating an Apple Pencil or you just want to get rid of fingerprints, check out Paperlike 2, linked in the description below. You won't regret it. But of course, also with this iPad, like I said, you get the 4 speakers. Now with the new iPads out there, such as the 2019 10.2-inch iPad that we saw for a really good price, it only sends audio out the bottom, which is it's not terrible, especially for the price, but if you're trying to get an immersive experience, having sound coming out of only one end is definitely inferior to having sound coming from both ends of the iPad. So in that regard, this iPad really holds up pretty well. Now, of course, like I said, there's also the smart connector. So you can get Apple's smart keyboard with this iPad, and that'll be slim and it'll work well for about $100, or I think around $80 if you get it refurbished. I'll leave some links down in the description. Or you can also use Logitech's Create keyboard with the smart connector, which I used for years and also stores the Apple Pencil. I really like that one. It's got a really good keyboard. That's also in that $70 to $100 price range, so it does support those keyboards. Or of course, you can just use a Bluetooth keyboard case if you want to attach a keyboard to this iPad. Now the display is 9.7 inches and it is Retina. Just like every iPad, it looks really good. But thankfully, unlike the 2019 iPad 10.2, this is laminated, which makes a big difference, I think, when you're using an Apple Pencil. Not only is it quieter when you're using an Apple Pencil, it just sounds like there's less kind of echo and hollowness in the device, but also the viewing angles just look better. It doesn't appear that there is a gap under the screen in the display. So just like the iPad Air 2 that came before this, this does have a laminated display, which, I mean, the budget iPad of 2019 does not even have. Now there's also great cameras on here. It doesn't have Face ID, so you're still unlocking this with your fingerprint, but it does have a 12 megapixel camera on the back with a good flash and 4K video. So if you ever want to use this for any type of creative work, you can definitely do that. Now the processor on here is really my biggest fear. So this has the A9X processor with the M9 coprocessor and only 2 gigabytes of RAM. But with iOS 13 support, which yes, this does have, and it really does add a lot to this iPad, iOS 13 and iPadOS is great. Made a lot of videos covering that if you want to check them out in the description. But even with these older specs, this still holds up pretty well. Now, compared to my 2018 iPad Pro 11, yes, this is more sluggish, and no, I wouldn't prefer to use this, but I could, especially for lighter things I was doing, just like watching YouTube, browsing mail, reading Kindle books, stuff like that. Once you're in it and it's just going, you won't notice it at all. Of course, if you're trying to edit video or do anything more intensive on this iPad, you will notice it, but I was still very impressed that I could use this without any real issues in day-to-day actions, and that's just a testament to Apple's hardware and software integration. Battery life is also really solid. I'm at 5% right now, and I haven't charged this in about 5 days. I watched several hours of YouTube, a lot of Kindle reading and web browsing. This has held up its battery life super well. several years in, and this is a great battery performer. And of course, this is 6.1 millimeters thin and it's less than a pound, so it's super portable. It does have a smaller display than any other iPad that's out right now at 9.7 inches, but still plenty good for taking notes or watching videos and stuff like that. And because it is an older iPad, it does have the bezels, and while it is amazing to have like a better screen to body ratio on the newer iPads, I still miss the bezels because it's comfortable to hold on to, especially when reading. Just giving you those bezels on the side is underrated, I think, and it's actually been nice to have those back. So when I'm reading a Kindle, super comfortable to hold, super light. I've really enjoyed it. So the iPad Pro 9.7 is a surprisingly really impressive device several years later. You've got the smart connector, you've got the 4 speakers, you've got a decent camera, and you've got Apple Pencil support and a laminated display. It does not have the 120 hertz refresh rate. I am not somebody who falls head over heels for that feature, so to go back to the standard refresh rate on the display is okay for me. So if you're looking to get this, I mean, it's $300, I believe, refurbished on Amazon for 128 gigabytes. It's got a lot of modern features that the current budget iPads don't have, and if you're looking for those features in particular, then this is a really great option, and I'm actually really impressed by how well this is holding up. Anyway, make sure to check out Paperlike, linked in the description, and thanks for watching.